Nebraska. Let's talk Nebraska. Matt Rule. This is one of the more talked about teams in the offseason, I think. They kind of lose some key guys, though. They lose Trey Palmer, who was a lot to that offense. He was very good. He was highly sought after by NFL teams in the drafts, and deservingly so. He's a very explosive player. Casey Thompson, coming from Texas, now is out of there, follows Tom Herman to FAU. So he's out of there, but they do bring in Jeff Sims from Georgia Tech, who has all the tools. And of course, we already talked about Hausman. I think that's spelled wrong. I think that's supposed to be two S's in there, but I don't care. So, anyways, they went 4-8 last year. The over-under win total is at 6. Very interesting schedule. From the East, they pull Michigan State, and Maryland. What are your thoughts? Over-under 6. How are we feeling?
I feel like their over-under has been around 6 or maybe even 6.5, 7 the past couple of years now with Scott Frost, and that was never going to happen. And I think they maybe hit 6 wins once. The problem is you bring in Matt Rule now, who I think is a really nice hire. He's a huge upgrade from Scott Frost, much more detail-oriented. The problem is this roster, yes, it was really talented, but I think it's a year away, from really getting into those 6, 7, 8, 9 games, 9-win seasons in the Big Ten there. This offense is going to look interesting. With Jeff Sims, who knows how he's going to be. Marcus Satterfield, did he fit with Spencer Rattler at South Carolina? No. Do I think he's probably pretty bright, pretty smart? Yes. The offense, apparently they're focusing more on the offensive line, and they're going to have a dedication to running the ball. Insert Gabe Irving and Anthony Grant, and then also Ramir Johnson in there. We'll see about Nebraska. A team definitely going to be watching them. They've recruited well in the offseason. They got some nice transfer portal guys, and I like the staff that Matt Rule put together there. And Nebraska's a team that's kind of always pretty talented, but kind of always underperforms. 6 is a good line. I'm going to push there. I think 6 wins is pretty valid for where they're at. That Colorado game is going to be really interesting. Week 2, I think they should blow out Colorado, or maybe not blow them out, but they should beat Colorado. But it'll be a home opener for Dion. Minnesota will have just hosted Nebraska the week before. So we'll see. If you start 0-2 in the Matt Rule era with Nebraska, it could be – I know Nebraska fans will not like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I push, but mostly I push because I don't really know what to think about some of these transfers. Now, something that I think I'm higher on than most, the offensive line is pretty massive. It is huge. There's like average height 6'7". Their average height and weight is 6'7", 310. That's pretty big. Could be bigger. There's teams out there that are bigger, but I really like that. I really, really like that. Nerida Nueli, he's back. Right, he failed a drug test last year, which only means that he might be a monster. Right, little extra juice. Actually, I don't know what he tested for, so don't quote me on anything. I mentioned Anthony Grant and the key returners on the slide, but like you said, I mean, Gabe Irvin's probably going to start over him if I had to guess. I think he's more talented than him, but Anthony Grant's a guy that has touches. So at least they have people in this offense that at least are experienced. They're bringing Billy Kemp, who I like. Kind of an explosive guy. Was he from Florida, I think?
Virginia,
that's what I meant. Sorry. Who am I thinking of? Never mind. Doesn't matter. But Jeff Sims, I really, really like. I don't think I'm alone on that. Like his upside is pretty bonkers. He just never got the help that he needed at Georgia Tech. Does he get it here? Maybe. I don't know. The receiving core isn't crazy. I mean, talk about Billy Kemp. An interesting sleeper guy, Malachi Coleman, true freshman.
Yeah.
Highly rated player.
Freak athlete.
Would not be surprised if he got some early touches. Don't expect him to go for 1,000 yards. I don't even expect him to go for 300 yards, but expect some like maybe big plays from him early on. I like him a lot. An interesting transfer that they got, Eric Gilbert. Am I right on that?
Yeah. I mean, remember him like from 3 years ago? He was such a name to be talked about. LSU, and then went to Georgia, and he's kind of fallen off. He's a former 5-star tight end. Him and Darnell Washington were both, your 5-star tight ends, and they're kind of like compared to each other. And then Darnell Washington obviously had a monster year at Georgia's in the NFL now. But Eric Gilbert, we'll see if he finds his footing here, with less pressure on him at Nebraska.
Yeah, he's still got to get a waiver though, which is pretty interesting. I don't know why, but I think Matt Rule was talking about it. I think Matt Rule said that he was pretty confident that he was going to get a waiver. I don't know why he would need a waiver, to be honest.
It's a second transfer.
Oh, right. Yep, LSU that. Yep. Yeah, so I like this team. But not so much. Like, I like what Matt Rule did with it year one. I don't think he went crazy. I like Elijah Judy. That's a gig A&M guy that came over there from edge. Or, sorry, not as an edge guy. Probably like more an interior guy. But he actually got some pretty decent snaps last year. So I don't hate that for that. The defensive line, they brought in a lot of pretty decent transfers. Actually, no, they only brought in 2 transfers on the defensive line, but they have 2 true freshmen that are likely going to get a lot of time, that are pretty highly sought after, and they look really good in the spring. So that will be the thing I'll say, though, is, you can say all you want about how good these freshmen look in the spring. I heard it all last spring about these true freshmen at A&M. And look, big boy football is big boy football. These kids could be really good in a couple years. I'm not doubting that. In fact, I think A&M's defensive line is going to take a huge jump this year, but I wouldn't expect them to be dominant as freshmen. But it is nice to see that Matt Rule can get some of these guys in here. Maybe he can develop them. So
they're going to get punched in the mouth, week 1 against Minnesota with some grown ass men, 23 and 24-year-olds. But I think they're really good players. I mean, Cam Leonard's from IMG. Princewell Umani Mellon is a good player too. I mean, there's a reason they're starting for him, because they earned the job. But also, like, it's going to be definitely a jump for him. And the problem is when you're relying on freshmen, true freshmen, especially on your defensive line, to start for you, that's never really a good sign, especially in the Big Ten West, where you got teams that can just lean on you and win games.
Yeah, who's not a freshman? MJ Sherman.
Yeah,
that's a guy.
Yeah.
He's from Georgia, right?
Yep.
I mean, any defensive transfer that you're going to get from Georgia, I mean, is likely going to be an impact right away. I anticipate him starting. I anticipate him doing pretty well. So that was definitely a big get for Matt Rule, I think. But I don't know. That's kind of what I have. Secondary, I have their secondary looking pretty good this year. But do they get everyone back?
Just about, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I like Omar Brown. But I think he needs to take a jump. But the athleticism is there, even though he's been there for however many years. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Shout out John Bullock, former walk-on. Might start for them at linebacker. I love a good walk-on, especially at linebacker.
I love it. You only see those in the Big Ten West.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
we'll see. I think that the strength of the defense will probably be in the secondary with all that experience coming back. And then we'll see. Hopefully they can, buy enough time for that front seven, specifically those defensive linemen, to get caught up to speed and be able to compete in Big Ten play.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other people that they lost besides Houseman. But yeah, so this will be an interesting team to watch. I'm excited to watch them this year. We get to see them right away against a Big Ten team with Matt Rule. So I'm excited for that. Anything else you want to say?
I'll be there week 1, August 31st. I'll be there when Nebraska comes into Minnesota. I think their O-line, you talked about it earlier. They're big. They're really big. They're not deep, though. Behind those top 5 guys is kind of nothing. They got, some talent, some young talent, but nothing that really gets you excited about in 2023. Teddy Prochaska, I think his name is, at left tackle, redshirt sophomore guy, will be an NFL guy for sure, but he's still working on it. He's still inexperienced, just going into year 3. He'll start for them at left tackle. And then Bryce Benhart is such a bum. I'm sorry. Actually, that's so mean. But he just spurned Minnesota. All Minnesota fans hate him because he left Minnesota in kind of a bad blood, and he kind of gets torched on pass protection there. So we'll see if he improves. He was a highly rated guy for sure. He's got the talent to do it. We'll see with the new coaching staff and a more dedication on running the ball instead of pass protection with Scott Frost before there. We'll see. And then Ben Scott comes in from Arizona State. Will probably be the center there. So we'll see. Nebraska team to watch for sure. Are they going to win? Could be for the conference in the West there. Probably not. But definitely program's trending up for sure.
If this team makes a bowl game, that is a huge success, I think. Like, their over-unders at 6, like, oh, that's the expectation. I think if they make a bowl game, that's a big deal, which is hilarious. Going from
it shows how bad it's been. It shows how bad it's been.